Hi there, it's Nicole from Mama Elephant, and today's card showcases the new incoming mail stamp set and coordinating dies. I've also used some of the Happy Mail stamps, or a greeting from that, and the Hello die cut from the Venice envelope die collection. So lots of new products from the May 2016 release. I'm going to stamp the images I'm using from the incoming mail stamp set first. I am stamping them on smooth white cardstock using the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. This is a great ink for Copic coloring, which is what I'm going to do with my images here from incoming mail. I stamped the little panda in the stack of mail twice. The first image you can see didn't stamp real clearly there on the left. I'm going to stamp 3 of the individual envelopes and then that other little grouping of envelopes there as well. I'm going to start coloring in my panda first using just some really light E0000 and E00 colors and a little R00 for the cheeks. So all very, very light colors. Then I'm simply going to take groupings of about 2 colors or 2 shades per color and color in all these envelopes. I want them to be super bright and fun. However, I did stick to a color scheme of more reds and pinks and aquas. A little peach thrown in there as well. I kind of like that color combination anyway. I gravitate towards it. I always love a pop of red on almost any card project I create. I don't want to say every card project because I definitely don't, but I would say probably 95% of the time my cards have some little touch of red somewhere. I zoomed in so you could see the coloring a little easier. This is kind of that peachy color. One thing about coloring in my images with the Copic markers, and this image in particular that has the panda bear in that stack of mail, I feel like he sort of gets lost. Once I color in all of these envelopes, the black just doesn't pop like it did maybe before I started coloring. Maybe if I'd kept them all, white or just with a little tint of color with maybe a gray or something. I'll show you how I fix that in a little bit because you definitely want that adorable little panda bear to be the star of the show. Another thing I'd like to mention about this incoming mail stamp set is how awesome it coordinates with the previously released Pandemonium stamp set from Mama Elephant. I think it would be super fun to combine the 2 stamp sets to create even more types of cards. I love that Mama Elephant is kind of creating, new stamp sets that will coordinate with old ones. I just think that's so super fun. I absolutely love that. Sorry, I'm out kind of towards the top of the frame here a little bit. I'm simply filling in those last few remaining envelopes. There are not a ton in this grouping. I'm finishing off with some red. I tried to keep no 2 colors right next to each other just so it was super colorful. And then I'm going to color in all these individual envelopes as well. Do the singles first. I did keep a few of the envelopes white if they had that little red heart seal there on them. Not all of them, but quite a few. And then I'm going to finish off with this last grouping of envelopes. Again, super fast coloring. I did not spend a ton of time doing a lot of shading. I laid down my base color, colored in with my darker color, and blended it out if it needed it. And that's it. I just wanted to get some color down on there for this card because the background of my card, I envisioned as I was coloring this that it was going to be in shades of pink. And so I wanted something that was going to look good with a light pink background. Get these last couple envelopes. I did take a little warm gray and go over the white and just add a tiny touch of color. With all the rest of the shading, I felt like it really needed something. I'm going to tape the coordinating dies over my images and run them through my Big Shot die cutting machine. I'll do this until I get everything die cut. One thing, that grouping of, or the largest image there, the one with the panda, 2 of those envelopes are actually part of that die, which kind of stinks because I did not stamp them above there, and I don't know if I could even get them lined up to do that. So I had to run it through a few more times to get all of those little images. Now this is how I'm going to fix my panda bear. I am taking that black glaze pen I colored over the eye areas and then all of the solid black areas on the panda, and you can see how much bolder and brighter that is. Once it's completely dry, I'm going to go over the eye areas with a white opaque glaze pen and then add some little white dots to his cheeks as well. This is all of the coloring, all complete now. I'm going to take one of the Fine Trimmings Mama Elephant dies. This is from a previous release. I love border dies like this. They add just such a fun touch. This doesn't actually die cut anything. It simply adds a decorative border. So I have trimmed my white cardstock panel that I'm going to be using to attach my greeting and all of these little stamped and die cut images. And then I am taping this border die along both edges and running it through my die cutting machine. You can see it's created that really nice stitched edge, which just gives a much more finished look. You definitely would not have to do that. You could just trim a piece of cardstock, ink it up, whatever, but I love the look of the decorative edges. I'm going to move everything out of the way now and take a little spun sugar distress ink and lightly apply that to my cardstock panel. This is smooth white cardstock. It is not watercolor cardstock, so I tend to use a much lighter hand so that I don't get any really harsh foam marks in my cardstock. It's a little bit harder to blend out if that happens. And I am just laying down the color. I don't want it to be really bright and overpowering, but yet I did want a touch of color back behind where I'm going to stamp my greeting, add the die cut greeting, and add all of those stamped, colored, and die cut pieces. I'm going to kind of lay everything out now so that I can figure out just exactly where I want to stamp my phrase from the Happy Mail stamp set. And then I'm going to ink that up with some black ink. I like to stamp it off on my grid paper, my scrap paper there in the background. Make sure that it's completely straight, that it's going to stamp really nicely. I'll take that to my project, stamp that right there. So my greeting will read, "Hello, sending happiness your way." On my previous card for the Stampede Blog Hop, I used this hello die as well. I love it. It is the perfect size to coordinate with stamped greetings. I love the size of it. I think it's so cute and fun. And I am doing much the same technique that I did for my Happy Mail card, where I die cut the hello 3 times from black cardstock. I am adhering them one on top of another, and then I'll attach it to my card. The only difference here is I didn't remove any of those little inside pieces. I kind of think that's a fun touch. You definitely could. I did on my other card, but this is just kind of another way to use that die. I'm going to glue that in place right above my stamped greeting. Put something heavy on it until it completely dries. Here is the background of my card, which is going to be a soft pink card base. I'm going to use a Simon Says Stamp diagonal stencil. I'm going to tape it in place with a little Post-it tape. Make sure I'm not covering up that corner there because I want to get ink right all over the surface. And then using that same spun sugar distress ink, I'm just going to pounce it in place over the stencil. I'm not going to worry about getting a really dark, deep stencil design. This is more just a tone-on-tone background. It's going to give some interest to the background where everything is mostly going on that die cut strip, the greeting, the embellishments. I just want a very simple kind of decorative background, and I love stencils for this. Once I get my color, and I went ahead and did not do the whole card, where I knew the Border was going to go. I didn't even bother to add the ink there. You're not going to see it anyway. I'll go ahead and attach my strip to my card base. And I like that it's light and dark in some areas, that it's not a real solid stripe. And then I'm going to take some glossy accents. I have the Ranger applicator tip here on it. It's going to really provide a great way to get a very nice thin line of adhesive. I love the look of a glossy die cut greeting. And so I'm taking that applicator tip and simply drawing over my die cut with it, applying a thin layer of glossy accents. This will dry in probably, I would give it a good hour, but once that it is completely dry, it just looks shiny and awesome. I absolutely love it. I am going to finish my card with a scattering of Pretty Pink Posh 4mm sparkling clear sequins. I'm going to adorn the center of those with some teeny tiny little clear gemstones from Hero Arts. And then I'm using the multi-matte medium from Ranger to attach the Pretty Pink Posh mini iridescent heart confetti. I love this confetti. You probably see me use it all of the time. This or the star confetti. I think it just adds a great finishing touch to a card. I'm using the quick stick tool to pick up all those little confetti pieces so I don't get my finger in the adhesive, and then just dropping those little confetti pieces in place. I even added one to the end of the word hello. These are those little teeny tiny clear gemstones that I'm attaching to the center of my sparkling clear sequins, and that will finish off my card. Thanks for joining me for the Mama Elephant incoming mail, stamps, and dies. The supplies I've used are listed and linked below the video on YouTube. Here are a couple more Mama Elephant videos you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.